Yeah, The Sirens of Titan, 1959, Kurt Vonnegut. Will there be spoilers in this video? Probably not too many, because I'm not really sure what happened or what it's really about. I'm posturing, of course. I did have a grip on the plot and the characters for most of this book, but it did feel like I was experiencing this with only half of my senses firing. Most of you will be aware that Slaughterhouse-5 is one of my favourite books of all time, but I do admit that it took 3 reads for the penny to finally drop, and then I found something special hiding within the narrative. I suspect that this is also the case with The Sirens of Titan. That's just the way that Vonnegut layers his writing, but I can only review what I experienced after a first read. Okay, the plot, I suppose. I think it's easier for me to explain it to myself out of order, because the bigger picture of the book is revealed to the reader as you go along. So when you think back over what you've just read, no way. I think the human race, civilization, has been manipulated for thousands and thousands of years so that we develop the technology to build a spare part for a spaceship for a Tralfamadorian. That's the very same alien race featured in Slaughterhouse-5, but in that book we're led to believe that they're not actually real. They're a figment of someone's imagination. They're a product of PTSD. But in this book they're real. Is this book a product of Slaughterhouse-5, or do they both exist in the same universe? Do I need to go back to Slaughterhouse-5 and reread it with different eyes because of the information that I've gathered from The Sirens of Titan? He's breaking the rules here. I have no idea what Vonnegut is doing. There is still a plot. There's a story. The richest man in North America builds his own private spaceship, and on the way to Mars with his dog, he gets turned into a quantum fluctuation, a wave phenomena. He exists as a particle and a wave at the same time, and this quantum spiral stretches all the way to the Orion Nebula. But his physical body can only materialise on Titan, where he also experiences the past, the present and the future, and the manifestation of his existence is responsible for the outbreak of war with the Martians, and it's also the solution to peace. Enough, okay? I'm simply highlighting that the plot, the actual story, the construction of the book is way out there. I was confused for most of the book, but I did kind of get it in the end. I would not recommend this book for anyone looking for another Red Rising or The Expanse or something normal, a normal reading experience. Don't go near this, okay? This is different. Or maybe do go to this book for something different and weird. So although I can't honestly say that I fully appreciated the story, because I was constantly trying to figure out what the fuck was going on, I had one eye on something else, I did really enjoy the quirky stories within the story. It's like a really weird movie that doesn't make much sense when you take a step back and have a look at it, but the individual scenes are really enjoyable. Glorious little vignettes. Therefore, I'm totally convinced that there is a grand scheme at play that I just don't appreciate at this time. Kurt Vonnegut is obviously aiming for something more than the sum of its parts, and I'm just too stupid to see it right now. And I'm okay with that. Greetings from the future. These videos take a lot of time and effort and a little bit of money to make. Money which we don't have. You can watch all of our videos for free on YouTube, or if you would like to support the channel, you can use Buy Me a Coffee, which is an online tipping service. Get yourself a t-shirt or a mug or some socks at the merch store, But best of all, we have a Patreon. You'll gain access to our exclusive Discord, home of the world's greatest read-alongs, the podcast Radio Death Cult, and of course, you can tell your friends and family that you've joined a death cult. Links in the description and on our YouTube homepage. Thank you so much. So let's push the plot, the characters, the story, the running around the galaxy in weird spaceships to one side for a minute and try and look at this book thematically. The Sirens of Titan largely deals with questions of free will. More broadly speaking, the lack of agency for the characters. The purpose of human life, no matter who is controlling it, is to love whoever is around to be loved. Yeah, I got that from Wikipedia. Free will. Is that what this book is really about? Is that the conversation that Vonnegut wants to have? That we possibly live in a universe that is already determined? What will be, will be. The past, the present and the future is carved in stone. Obviously, that is a truly fascinating subject to read about. But when I'm reading about it in a novel, I don't find that concept that interesting. You have to do something with it. The plot has to discover this revelation and manipulate it or examine it a lot further. Oh man, I might be tying myself up in knots here, but in the Sirens of Titan, I think the concept of free will serves to put humanity in its place. We are manipulated as a species down a certain path. So I don't think Vonnegut is saying that we live in a simulation, that every single atom is predetermined. I think he's talking about a bigger picture. The aliens, God, the controller of the simulation, whatever that is the puppet master. They are controlling us. Not that it's a fundamental law of physics. I think you're supposed to, and look, there's no right or wrong way of reading any book, but I think you get the most out of the Sirens of Titan if you take that idea of free will and put it in the background. That's the backdrop to this universe, okay? We have no control over what we do, but within that we can still find love and happiness. And I think he's talking about society and our world in general in his fucked up, extremely clever, sideways way of doing things. And then I get very confused because I've only read the book the one time, and I take that free will concept and then this other idea of finding love and happiness and fold them all together and say, if we are allowed to take the predetermined world but then find love and happiness within it, wasn't that love and happiness also predetermined? I do apologise if it sounds like I'm talking absolute shit and I've just confused the review, but believe me, that's a very realistic reaction to how I felt at the end of the book. I think I liked this book. The humour is dark and cryptic. I felt really smart every time I got one of Vonnegut's jokes. Oh yeah! And even though it's wonderfully weird and quite hard to pin down, it's actually very easy to read. The language is quite ordinary. There is no reason why good cannot triumph as often as evil. The triumph of anything is a matter of organisation. If there are such things as angels, I hope that they are organised along the lines of the mafia. But the universe is an awfully big place. There is room enough for an awful lot of people to be right about things and still not agree. The big trouble with dumb bastards is that they are too dumb to believe that there is such a thing as being smart. In short, on the basis of horse sense and the best scientific information, there was nothing good to be said for the exploration of space. The time was long past when one nation could seem more glorious than another by hurling some heavy object into nothingness. You can see that it's cute but sharp. I also picked up a hint of autobiographical, which I always appreciate, especially when it's written by someone so bloody clever. It reminded me a little bit of Philip K. Dick's writing, where it's actually quite easy to consume the words, but it's the ideas, the layers, and that alternative frame of reference that needs a little bit more work and attention to be truly appreciated. A score for the Sirens of Titan, I don't know. It feels like a 7. I liked it. I certainly didn't love it, but that's a 7 for now, because I know for damn sure that when I read this again in a year or two from now, knowing what I know now, it's going to be a higher score, because that's just the way these sorts of books work. Did you love the Sirens of Titan? In the comments on Discord, people are saying this is their favourite Vonnegut and they absolutely love this book. But also, some people are down here. They hated it. They DNF'd this. So it'd be really interesting to know what you think in the comments, please.